games into these days. 100%. Anyway, we're into the draft. It's Varus is the first pick. It's answered immediately by a Ryze and an Ashe.
Yeah, it's a very fast draft. We really don't have time to go with our thoughts. You hit on it. You hit on it. Shun would be the player to pull this out. Nidalee Kindred, his two specialties, already setting up for, I mean, just a lot of, I'd say, like, protection coming out of this comp, right? Kindred Ultimate's going to be there. You're going to be Yagao able to follow up with his ulti as well. I'd kind of still like some dive thrown in elsewhere. You know, hopefully maybe we see that in the top lane, but I don't really think of Bin as that type of player. Always love to see when Galio has the option to aggressively follow up on a play, but you expect him to go the Predator route, so those options will still be available. And Weibo going to opt into the double 80 carry bot lane to try to keep up that presence. Yeah, it does feel like the double 80 carry bottom lanes are starting to take over the LPL at this point, with a Camille being banned away from Bin. His solo QID being Love Camille. Not surprising to see that taken away from him. But trying to remove some of these carries, like you said, the Jax and the Fiora are already gone. Honestly, it feels like we're looking at the draft against YSKM. It really does. And it's even funnier considering that both of these top laners kind of fall into this set style. We've seen TheShy in his career at times like default 2 tanks. Typically, actually was the Scion, which we saw earlier in the day that he has pivoted onto. But Weibo maybe going to look for jungle next, save, counter pick for TheShy, especially as we just continue to ban out some of these priority top laners. K'Sante, maybe being the only thing that comes to mind, is something very worthwhile if you wanted to go for that on 4. What I want to really see in the top lane, this is probably not going to happen, but I want to see the blind Gnar pick from one team, and the other team just locks in the Yasuo to hard counter the lane and show us some skills up there. It's not going to happen probably, but Sejuani banned away in the end from Karsa. So the Maokai and the Sejuani, which are kind of the two biggest priority junglers, I'd say, at the minute, being taken off of the board, as well as that Elise. So we'll see where Karsa's likely to go. He has played that Viego Vi open as well. Munch, you might... If he locks in the Yasuo now, I'll be over the moon. I mean, you've got a Galio in the mid lane. Why not have a carry? But you do have a Kindred, so maybe you don't need the damage. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Yeah, and looking at, again, what else they can even go for that would, I think, set up well. He's played Gwen previously, but whether or not you want to play this game is a different question. Set up well for this guy. I mean, Renekton just feels like it would be your standard default option if they went for it. But, I mean, with the Camille banned out, I feel like there aren't too many things that can really serve as that kind of catalyst for the Galio. But I guess even if it did just work as enabling and protecting a top lane carry, we do still have things. Ooh, I mean, hell, this is one of the go-to counters for Gnar over the years, looking for those all-ins when he's in mini and just being able to take him out. And they're going to lock it in. I thought of this when I saw the draft and I saw the jungle bans, because you have a Kindred on the opposing side, so you have the explosive cask able to try and counteract that one. I didn't know if they would go for it, but Karsa has always loved the Gragas. They're going to lock it in. Both compositions. Famously better than 369 at the Gragas. Oh, no. 369 came and proved them wrong. It will always be my favorite arc of last year. But very, I'd say, different twists on draft, again, compared to, I'd say, the expected meta ones coming through. Obviously, the Gragas really being the center on Weibo's side. All of BLG's comp being a little bit different. There's just so many tools to be able to survive outright burst coming out, looking to impact his lanes. Yeah, I'm just a little bit, I'm really excited to see the interactions later on where we've got the Gragas ult with the Kindred ult, the Galio ult, so many circles as the Gyos come through. You know, they had some respectable ones, but when you're going like, again, even ignore any semblance of skill. This Weibo roster can lose every game. They will still have the loudest Gyos out of any team, just off of name value. Yeah, I could get behind that. I think the only like player in the LPL that can outdo them is Uzi, pretty much. Like, case I mean, TheShy alone and Karsa, those two as a pair, actually are maybe the highest quantity of sheer fame that you can have on a roster. But an attempted stack there from BLG to start the game off doesn't work out for them. So we do have a standard start, and it's going to be Karsa kicking off with his chickens. No vision of either jungler to kick us off.
And I think when we look at this early game, I think a lot of the onus or
aggressive options are more in the hands of BLG when you have things like the Galio that brings setup CC for the Kindred, the roams that can be made up towards top side. That's kind of where I'm looking at Shun to play around. To where for Karsa, I mean, there's some potential there in mid lane, right? You can go for the route coming out from Ryze and try and find a gank, but still going to be hard. You're also just double magic damage. It's going to be easy for Yagao to itemize throughout this game. Top can be a little bit rough early on, still just playing around this mini Gnar, and your bot lane's going to mostly be about push. So a lot of what Karsa should be looking to do, I think, is just finding early information on where Shun is and trying to prevent some of these more aggressive plays towards the top half of the map from BLG.
Yeah, trying to play defensively, essentially, and mitigate any early pressure as Yagao really taking some damage from Xiaohu in the mid lane, who just drops a cheeky little thumbs up, knows he has complete control, and that buys Karsa so much space in this top side when you know Yagao has no way to join into a play.
Yeah, and the wave in a pretty solid place for Karsa to look for this. And now playing around TheShy, about to turn Mega.
Oh, Bin's going in as well. Gets the reset on his Q, but he's not going to be able to get out of this one. Or is he? The minion wave is there to escape, but no, TheShy with a preemptive flash to stop things going awry. Or will they? Bin surviving! The pot is huge as Karsa tried to chase it down. First one goes down. Bin will finally fall. Karsa gets the consolation prize. Shun now chasing Yagao. Half HP somehow. That in the brush.
Always.
Another stare
They
down.
want to go for it. Both teams want it.
Okay, one dropped. We disengage.
Oh, wait.
An exciting start. Maybe
Big
a
wave.
dive.
Big wave going to TheShy. He's in mini form. He has no flash. This is doable.
It certainly is.
Oh, he's going to go down.
Stun gets dodged from. Here's TP out from Xiaohu. And immediately, the play is ceased.
I mean, goodbye BLG. Had Weibo not given that TP over, I mean, TheShy would have been dead, but this here, they go for the gank. They try to pull him closer to the turret. Karsa wanting to follow up to try to prevent the escape path, but that one minion giving him so much room to play with was huge. I just want to highlight how long Bin held onto his flash, like waiting for his teammates to get close to hopefully buy him the space to get away. Sure, he goes down in the end, but the fact that he bought so much time for his teammates to get to the top side and get that pick is monumental.
And crucially, Shun getting that pick as well. Shun being the one to get the gold early on. Very handy if you're a Kindred player. And Bin actually almost escaping at the end of it. It's kind of insane. Phenomenal start, though. What an exciting way to kick off our match of the week with top scraps for Karsa. Ain't looking to stop anytime soon. His sweeper didn't see the ward. And Elkinon should be able to just back away from this one. But crucially, Karsa doesn't even know that ward's there.
No, and now that just opens up an angle where you know he's on a top side. And TheShy still doesn't have sums.
No flash available, but the leap is enough. Dodges away from the stun. This massive wave is going to be a problem, but he does have a ward, so he'll be able to see if Shun heads back his way.
Yeah, good for him. Shun's still going to try and be patient.
Wants that last minion. Don't know if it's going to be punished for it here. Hop should be available any second now, but the stun is there. And he hops the wrong way. He goes down. That's 2 kills for Shun already and a Kindred stack.
I mean, nice. Like, waiting in the wings, knowing the hop's going to be on cooldown. Even had he hopped towards his tower there, he's most certainly dead. And BLG, coming into this one, we said if this was going to swing one way as like decisively, that BLG are a team who just with the way their players like to play, it wouldn't be too surprising on capitalizing on some of the aggression coming out from the members of Weibo.
Yeah, not at all. Like, this is absolutely the team that are like liable to snowball. And now you can see the Predator boots there for Yagao. He's more than happy to get involved in these plays. As soon as he hits level 6 as well, he can anticipate that Shun will be a bit more aggressive in the jungle because you've got that Galio that can follow up on the plays. And that's where, for Weibo, you really have to wonder, like, what's their play? How do they get control of this game? Because they're losing in bottom lane, they're losing in top lane, they're losing in jungle. Like, where do you go from here?
That's why a lot of it, to me, feels like it's playing off the prio, especially the early prio that Ryze should be able to get, try and get some wards. You know, around whichever quadrant of the map you'd be playing around, you'd expect it to be topside again, trying to prevent that snowball from the Irelia and just track where Shun is and try and play around windows where you can utilize a Realm Warp and like Shun isn't on that quadrant. So even if a Galio does follow up, you now have this 3v2 play on topside, you can find a pick. Because if you're not going for things like that, I feel like a lot of it's waiting for like later on in the game where like Light's coming online with a few items under his belt. So lots going to be up to playing with Xiaohu.
Xiaohu could be in trouble. There's a knock-up and taunt as well, but Flashes out to safety. Someone to burnt, though. You're happy with that as a game?
I mean, Shun just finding value everywhere he's going on the map so far.
Shun nice is extremely low, though. Karsa wants to make a play.
Yagao just hit 6. Yeah, so they got to be careful.
Xiaohu level 6 as well, but that's not as big of a fight changer, having the Realm Warp available. Shun manages to get himself that Scuttle Crab. Here comes Xiaohu. Shy over the wall as well. The Blast Cone might just save Shun's life. TheShy doesn't want to let him get away. He's in mini Gnar. Doesn't even have any Rage Bar available to him. Slam down from Yagao. Double taunt as well. And it couldn't be going worse for Weibo. Shun looks for 3. He only gets the 2 in the end, but Bin will be happy to grab a kill himself.
TheShy really wanting to take down his former jungler, and Shun chasing a little bit too far forward, not respecting the follow-up from that Galio. You know he's going to use that blast plant, still wanting to chase him down. And then here it is, Heroic Entrance going to come in, jumps on through, and just the sheer amount of damage. Great taunt by Yagao to follow it up. And I mean, for Weibo, that's all there was.
Yeah.
There was nothing. What was that?
I don't know. They obviously thought that they could get onto Shun earlier. Then the Blast Cone kind of denies that play. But then the part where you follow up and try to dive with mini Gnar with no rage whatsoever, that's the part where I question how safe this play really is to go for. But hey, we said this is a team that's going to have a lot of mojo. Mojo goes both ways.
It does. It does. I feel like it's something. Again, teams like this, they're gonna. We've already even seen it from like rosters like CES so far, where there's gonna be some very dominant games. There's gonna be some very messy games. A great coming out from BLG. They are another team that you're looking at to be up towards the top of the table. They're another team that like you would not be surprised to see this roster being one of the 2 rosters making their way to MSI. That's just how star-studded they are coming in. And maybe Weibo doesn't want to give over Shun's Kindred going into game 2, but it always sucks having to like utilize your first 3 bans for pocket picks like Kindreds, like Nidalees, like in the last series, Tristanas.
Especially when, like, what was it, 4 of their bans were aimed at Bin as well, like to try and shut out that top lane. Like, you're running out of useful bans at that point. I just want to quickly bring everyone's attention to something before the next fight kicks off, because we've been looking at the top side of the map a lot, but take a look at the CS numbers for our 2 AD carries right here. Elk is having a field day in the bottom side of the map. He has a 30 CS advantage at 9 minutes. Light is not having a fun time.
No, I feel like Varus is bringing some more of that early game power than Sivir on the opposing side. Karma, one of the best matchers, I think, into a lot of these marksman supports.
Yeah.
But just the pressure from a Mantra Q able to come out. You even have your shield to try to survive some of the poke. Is Yagao.
The Predator shuns over the wall as well. Karsa trying to escape with his life. Uses that ultimate defensively. But here comes Elk to guarantee that blue buff. We're going to see a solo kill on the top side. TheShy has been looking good mechanically across the course of the split so far. Well, that's a scary, scary Irelia that you have to go up against. Has gone for the call, so you don't anticipate him trying to make aggressive plays.
No, just trying to find some of that return damage after Bin had committed for the all-in, so nice job with the trade patterns, but look right now.
Oh my
Kraken
God.
Slayer already picked up for the Kindred, still has Rift Herald in pocket as well. You would think that that would probably go up to the top side, but I also think in this meta when bot lane has so much pushing power, I feel like we're starting to have to change like the way of thinking about like, okay, well, which carry can we funnel gold on when it feels like a lot of just breaking it down bot lane to easier and moving your heavy pushing pieces.
Here we go, Xiaohu, no flash from the play early on in the mid lane, and look at him melt. You mentioned the Kraken Slayer finish. Well, you've just witnessed what an early Kraken Slayer can do.
And for an update for anyone out there who, you know, isn't able to see in the left-hand corner, 3 marks now picked up for him. So is slowly making his way up to the patented
I'd say
mark.
quickly making his way up.
It's only 10 minutes.
It's 10 minutes into the game, he's got 3 Kindred marks.
Last series was long.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. 10 minutes, well, 11 minutes at this point, and actually not dropping the Rift Herald, I think just because of this sheer bot lane dominance. Like, maybe you kind of want that tower to stay up another minute. Maybe you want Elk to be getting the solo gold from those tower plates. And he will just crash his way, probably go for a reset himself, and then we'll see where they choose to use this Herald as Yagao shoves out in the mid lane. Drake is up on the map.
We can see him making his way down towards bot once again. so I still wouldn't be surprised if it was that. Again, I feel like extending a side lane for Ben and getting him more gold is always nice.
Yeah.
But with dragging up right now in their bot lane, giving so much punishment, see what they do opt for. On right now actually is heading towards mid lane, so gonna help Yagao get pushed to guarantee the safety and security of this Drake. I don't think there's any way Weibo would have been able to contest it anyway. We're almost at a 4K gold lead at 12 minutes, so for Karsa, it's pretty much anywhere BLG is. It's the opposite of what we said earlier. Just get away from it.
Yeah.
Just go and hope to trade and hope to get something elsewhere. But even that feels almost impossible.
It's not like this composition doesn't scale for BLG. Your
No.
jungler is a crit AD carry. Like they look good in the late game as well. Yagao looks for an engage on Xiaohu, but denied by Crisp there. A bit of slowing. Xiaohu with a rune as well.
I would even argue that it has more threat in the late game, right? You have to worry about the Kindred. You have Varus is going to come online. Sure, it's going to be lethality, but those arrows are still going to like chunk you out, and then bin in a side lane. Where for Weibo, a lot of it's going to come down to what Light's able to make happen.
Shun wants to go for the Gromp now, as they're threatening the bot lane tower as well. Karsa is desperate to take this jungle camp for himself, and will be able to get the smite. Arrow goes slightly wide, can't quite find the mark. Karsa still sticking around. Light wants to farm this wave, but I'm not sure you can stay here, buddy. Kindred ult available as well, so BLG can be really aggressive with how they play. Yagao moving over. Light just does not get a look in on this CS. He's over 50 CS down.
Yeah, it's just... there's not even a word for it. There's not even a word for like how brutal this is on Light and Crisp so far. From, like, sure they were behind earlier, but largely what's happening now had nothing to do with them. It was all what happened on the opposite side of the map.
And, you know, I like that they ended up going with the Herald in the mid lane as well, because Yagao had done a tiny bit of chip damage. The Herald finishes off the first 2 plates, but Yagao actually stayed away from that, so that they could forget funneling the gold into the right laner. They're funneling the gold into Shun this game, and then it leaves the plates for Elk to take the bottom
Leaves
side.
the plates for Elks, and I guess you're leaving an extended laning phase for the Irelia top side as well.
Yeah.
Potential more all-in windows onto the Gnar. Weibo, though, they think this is their snowcrab lunch.
Fools! As here comes Shun, smites it away. Karsa's in trouble. The realm warp denied. Karsa down. TheShy trying to flash away for his life as Bin chases him underneath his tower. And well, I mean, this is just immaculate from BLG. Everything that has happened this game has been gorgeous.
BLG are just so on point coming in. It's why they're one of the rosters that we're most excited for. It is pretty crazy to think, though, that they are only 1-1 coming into the split. We're able to beat BLG. FTX but lost to JD Gaming earlier on. We're going to see here, though. I mean, Weibo thought that they can go for the Scuttle Crab. All of BLG were ready and waiting. They even had a semblance of vision control to be able to spot out the play, and they find the kills.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you say, 1-1 so far, but this definitely feels like the cleanest performance we've seen. And against one of the, you know, in theory, top teams of the LPL. We don't know who the top teams are yet. We're not late enough in the split.
And to be fair, their loss was up against JDG. It went all the way to 3 games. Could have gone either way.
Yeah.
So that's why we're saying, like, BLG showing themselves as a top contender.
And it's exciting because it's felt difficult to get behind a BLG roster for a long time. Like, quite often there's a couple of good players on a BLG roster. Quite often there's signs of hope, but it never quite seems to come to fruition. I feel like this is the first roster for BLG in a long time where I feel extremely confident that these guys are going to be, you know, in the upper echelons, maybe like a top 4 team, maybe even better than that if they can keep up performances like this. Shun trying to chase Crisp down, immediately using that heal just to make sure he stays safe.
Even just Shun's presence.
I know.
Another spell out from the... But I feel like we hit this point every split. Early on, Shun.
Shun is feeling it today. Drops his flash because he knows that he can just solo kill TheShy. Hasn't even used Lamb's Respite yet this game.
And I was going to say, this happens every split where early on it feels like Shun gets Shun champions. Teams learn. They then get banned.
Yeah. And then it's the question of, okay, can Shun play better jungle champions? And I feel like he's getting better at that every single year, right? Every single split we see of Shun, I do feel like he's an improving player. It's 16 minutes into the game, Lyric, and we're seeing Bin take an in-him tower. And the Herald is actually alive? Okay, the volley finishes up.
I don't know if we curse this by saying BLG are more expected team to stomp a series. Bin might end up getting punished. I think he's nowhere to go.
Then again, TheShy kind of went the wrong way around. Just get the slow onto him. Bin goes for the all-in here, looking for stacks, but won't be able to find it. CC comes on through. I say that, he nearly got Karsa. Even after all of that, still nearly got a kill. And in the meantime, his team is taking the rest of the map.
Taking mid lane turret, they're pushing up bot to get vision in the enemy jungle because Dragon's spawning in 6 seconds. It is going to be a Hextech Soul, which a lot of people say is, you know, the most valuable one coming on through. So BLG are going to get everything, but Weibo, whatever happens now, it's, you know, it's whatever. Weibo are at a point where their list of options are pretty much zero. It's they do whatever BLG lets them do. Oh, BLG are playing towards mid and bot. Well, we have to go top. So a lot of this is coming down to the domination that BLG were able to find earlier in the game off the back of Weibo's mistakes, forcing that dive onto Shun, like past tier 1 turrets.
Yeah.
It was Weibo forcing the play that led them here.
And not only is the Hextech Soul an incredibly powerful tool, but the Hextech Rift is actually fantastic when you're ahead for snowballing the game. That's exactly what's going to be coming on through. This Shun takes, I was going to say he takes Karsa's camps. These camps don't belong to Karsa anymore. There's no universe where Karsa can contest these camps. He's just going to have to head back to his own towers. There's Bin now pressuring in the bottom side. Shun will move on over. I think they just one-shot this tower, basically. They're just so far ahead. Shun's finished 2 items.
I mean, same with Elk, which, I mean, sure, like, they are a little bit cheaper, but both being a full item up. Is Karsa.
Oh, the chains land and Elk finishes the job. Karsa caught again and take it out. You can see the grid on Karsa's face, though. Like, they know how doomed this game is.
We've said they're experienced players, like, they all know.
Yeah.
They all know the hope of this game is... This is not a, hey, let's wait and see an Elder Flip, guys, or anything. Golly, no, this is...
Well, to be fair, an Elder Flip might be the only way, because the enemy team's about to get sold, so if they are foolish enough to start Elder...
I don't know if Weibo would win a fight even with Elder.
I don't think so. I'm not sure Weibo would win a 1v5 if Shun had, with Elder against Shun at this point. Oh my god, yeah, this is something else. But hey, fantastic stuff from BLG. Absolutely fantastic game to win. 10,000 gold lead at the 19-minute mark. But still taking it, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, taking it fairly slow.
Oh, we got a pick. Weibo, 3 kills on the board, Munch.
We take those. Maybe an opportunity onto Elk as well as the round warp comes in. Flash forwards, Yagao moving into the play as well. Light doesn't really have much damage to work with. And Weibo, as soon as it's even a remotely fair fight, they are out of there.
Yeah, they want nothing to do with that. Trying to find as many picks as they can. We're going to wait to hover over Shun once again and see what the stat counter is at this point.
Karsa's ult is almost available again. It's a huge tool for finding these picks, but there's no damage nearby him, so we'll just have to back away. He's got Night Harvester though, so he does a decent amount of damage himself.
Yeah, he's. I mean, we saw in that last one, right, where I feel like a sizable amount of the damage that came through on that kill onto, I believe it was was coming from him.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're at 6. Kindred counter at 6.
Kindred stacks. That is
20 minutes.
That is disgusting. The one thing I will say as well about this game is when you fall this far behind this fast, it's really rough for your jungler specifically because Karsa doesn't get to farm anymore. He's 2 levels behind Shun. He managed to one-shot On, but On's a support player. He's the only player on the enemy team that he's even close to the level of, never mind ahead of. Shun flashing away. There's a barrel to lock him in place. Lamp's Respite finally forced out as he just goes Super Saiyan, forces them away, but Yagao behind enemy lines, and Bin starts taking them apart. Double kill for Elk and an easy fight for BLG.
And BLG gonna go to the Baron, pick this one up, and hopefully bring us closer to what is game 2. Because let's be real, even Weibo at this point probably just want to move on and hopefully get a chance to win the next game.
So, fun fact, the Baron is actually the player that's got closest to killing Shun now this game. The shield coming out last second from On to save him.
We see them go for the pick, but now that you've used the explosive cast, like, they were hoping they could explode him just immediately. Damage not there. Lamb's Respite able to come out, and now we are seeing the effects of massive gold gaps.
Yeah.
Huge.
12,000. If you reverse the clock, the 21 to 12, that's the thousands of gold difference. which doesn't mean anything, but it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Dragon coming up though, 30 seconds. That will be solved for BLG. If they even need it, that inhib has been open for a long time with the top side.
This is when we get to the point of we just guess what will be the exact timing of this game.
I'm going to say 24 minutes.
I'm going to go with, let's see, they have this Baron for 2. I'm going to go with 23-30. I'm putting
close.
a bit more faith in them.
It's close.
30
it's close.
seconds of faith.
They've got to finish in 90 seconds.
Watch him end now. Watch Karsa go for the gauge.
Karsa knocks Shun back. He's rooted up. He's slapped against the wall. Can't use the Lamb's Respite. And that's a huge shutdown. And that's 30 seconds further away from Lyric's prediction.
Honestly, kudos to Weibo.
Yeah,
they've killed the unkillable raid boss. Doesn't have the tools available, but BLG, they're still going to get soul. Weibo don't have a way of contesting this one. And I mean, we'll actually take a serious look here, right? Enchanted Crystal Arrow comes out, explosive cast into the rest of the team, gets rooted down, and without the ultimate there to be able to survive, is still a squishy Kindred at the end of the day. Doesn't matter if you can one-shot your whole team if you are now getting focused down by the entirety of Weibo.
And it's worth mentioning that I already talked about the Gragas barrel versus the Kindred ult. It's also the Gnar ult. Like, having that Gnar available either to stun before the ult comes out or knock you out of the ult, either way, still incredibly effective against the Kindred. I don't think any of these factors realistically matter at this point. It's still 11,000 gold lead. BLG would really... This would be the most monumental throw of the year so far if BLG don't win this game.
I think it would be just one of the most monumental throws ever. Like, think about how far ahead they were at like the 8-9 minute mark. We were already at a 5,000, 6,000 gold lead.
It's true. It's true. And Shun just being so far ahead on the Kindred specifically on a hyper carry, having access to all of that so early. But I don't think the throw's coming on through. The Baron minion starting to charge on in. There's a realm walk down to the bottom side from Xiaohu, who's trying to defend the base, but this slow battle of attrition of the Baron minions hitting away at these inhibitor towers. And just the desperate attempt at defense from Weibo.
Doing a nice job there. After the last shenanigans of Shun getting picked off, it seems like they're happy to just try and take, oh my god, that damage from Elf.
Yeah, Karsa is in trouble here. That tower is going to go down. That's 2 open inhibitors now in favor of BLG. And that lightning is just so annoying. So many little procs of damage and slows coming onto the enemy team. Mid inhib will fall. They can transition up to the top side as well to take the top inhib. Chain of Corruption lands. Xiaohu's in trouble. Flashes away to safety. Yagao, Justice Punch back out of the fray. Might have to use his ultimate just to try and stay alive here. Sonya's comes on through, as does Lamb's Respite, keeping Yagao safe.
Honestly, surprising that Weibo are able to dish out this much damage.
Yeah.
BLG still the ones able to pick up an inhibitor, so only kind of getting closer to sealing the deal, as we were both incredibly wrong on our predictions.
You know when we talked about an Elder Dragon flip deciding the game? We are marching ever closer to that being a reality. We're 3 minutes and 40 seconds away from Elder spawning on the map.
Honestly, if Weibo win with Elder after what we said, I'm all in for that timeline. I'm up for it.
That would be something else, honestly. BLG though, I think we are getting ahead of ourselves off of a couple of minor stalls. Weibo didn't even get a kill there. They lost an inhib and a tower. As BLG returned to the top side once again. Been clearing the way. Karsa takes a chunk and a bit of lightning across the team as well. Been stunned up for half a second. Tenacity is a fun mechanic. And Karsa sent back to base. This will be the top inhib going down.
And I mean, Shun finally has the IE complete, so now he's pretty much hitting it maximum damage. No one from Weibo should realistically be able to get close. If he had a bit more range under his belt as well, it's just...
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
TTIG.
I'm going to be honest, TTIG, that was the match of the week. Game 3 of TTIG was the match of the week.
Now, no, because now we predict that Weibo come out and they slap BLG in Game 2. We have another stomp. And then Game 3 is the shenanigan.
Yeah, and it does go back to what we were saying before of this Weibo team is complete veterans. Like, nobody's going to be fazed by this. It's not like younger teams you can see, like, going into game 2, they're tilted. Like, they don't know how to go forward from here. Like, Weibo will not care about this game loss, and they'll come back strong in game number 2, I have no doubt. I mean, they're still going to game number 1 here, trying to hold on. With 2 inhibs down, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, they're trying. I mean, they're trying to make it annoying for BLG, right? Even if they know hope is slim, they still trying to win. They're still trying to maybe annoy BLG, tilt their mental a little bit, and make it rough for them going into game 2. As BLG,
they can't actually get this tower. There's too much wave clear with the Sivir or with the Ryze to actually end the game without Baron. But luckily for them, Baron's up.
They were waiting for Baron because the other thing you could do is typically you'd have one of your soul laners, like let's say you'd have Bin pushing out in top, and then the rest of you there because they have the full attention to stopping Bin's push. But things like the Realm Warp and the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, I think they're afraid of maybe how fast they can get on top of and pick off Bin, even if they did have to maybe give over the inhibitor turret. So I think I like what BLG's thought process was, and now they're going to have this Baron. They already have 2 waves with inhibitors down, and it looks like we still have quite a while on those inhibitors as well. So BLG should be able to guarantee the spot lane turret and inhibitor within the next minute and a half.
Yeah, and the problem with inhibitors, right, is that you want Weibo to try and pull off some like Death Brush or something like that, but once your inhibs are down, it becomes very difficult to do that because you need to have players committed to the mid and top lane just to deal with those minions. It takes such a long time to bring them down. Luckily, they do have a Sivir, which is one of the best champions in the game at dealing with those waves. Same for Ryze, honestly. But it's not going to matter in the short term as the 3rd inhib will go down. Elder spawning in 30 seconds, but if I'm BLG, I do not want to go for that Elder Dragon. That is too risky, as they can just look towards the Nexus towers here. Slowly but surely chip away once again. Arrow comes in from Crisp. No follow-up whatsoever just yet.
No, just keep chunking them out. Use your Baron up minions. You have waves coming in top. And for Weibo, all they can do is try and survive the onslaught, especially with the poke coming out from Elk and on, like we've seen.
Yeah, it's not like Weibo are winning the poke war. They've got their fountain just there, but the second you go back to heal, you're going to lose the game. Light aggressed upon by Bin and just wiped off of the face of the rift. Another kill picked up. The Nexus will go down, and BLG show us who the real super team is in game 1.
An absolute massacre coming out for the side of Bilibili. A lot of this stemming from that early game, stemming from Weibo's willingness to fight. We saw them chase Shun up towards the top side, towards the tier 1 turret. They kind of go for not really a dive, but like a pseudo dive right there. They're in BLG's territory, and then Galio follows up. Like, people are going down left and right, and it really just never was able to recover from there. Yeah. We just had Kraken Slayer even come out at like the
like
9-minute mark.
It was insane.
For the Kindred.
Absolutely insane. There's so many stacks so early as well. Which Kindred really does level up massively once you get to that. I think it's 4 stacks for the first one, and then every 3 or something like that. Just absolutely insane performance from Shun, from the whole team. And you know, there was a couple of good moments for the side of Weibo. They got that 1 pick onto Shun. That was kind of cool.
I remember Karsa exploded someone. It was on. Yeah,
it was on. Yeah,
killed the Karma.
So Karsa had a couple of good moments.
The Baron did some damage to Shun at one point.
That's true. Nearly died. So there were moments. There were moments for Weibo. But yeah, I mean, what more do you say about this game, really? This was an absolute shellacking from BLG. Phenomenal performance coming out, especially after how tough that series was against JDG that they managed to take in the, or that they lost actually in the end. Like, coming out this strong against Weibo, dominating game number 1 like this, it's going to give people a lot more faith in this roster.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it doesn't really feel like there's too much to comment on with the series. It's kind of like, hey, we just broke down what happened. Now it's about game 2. What Weibo are able to change, whether it's in terms of draft and not having to kind of fall down. I don't want to say fall down the seams into things like Gragas because you're also up against the Kindred, so I feel like Weibo were really like fine with going with those picks specifically. But now you're questioning, do you maybe ban things like the Kindred? We don't know if like a swap of sides is going to come in. And then a lot of it being down to the gameplay. Like we highlighted, some of the early game aggression able to come out. And,
I really thought Shun would be higher on that list.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by Elk being the highest or how high he is. But you would have thought that Shun would have been
4.
Yeah, maybe like if Elk's 27, Shun maybe 20. But